All right, so today we're doing section 8.2, which is regarding the arithmetic sequence we learned yesterday. It's called using the explicit formula. Okay, not just finding it, because yesterday our whole point was finding the formula, right? Like, here's a bunch of different situations. How do you find the formula? Now they're saying, okay, now that we can find the formula, let's use it to find specific information. Okay, so yesterday the explicit formula was given as a sub n equal to a sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d. Now, there is an alternate form. You can see it at the very bottom. So how do we get to that point? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to distribute that n. So it looks like this. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus dn, bless you, minus d. And then I'm going to move the d sub n to the front. So let me write a sub n is equal to d sub n plus a sub 1 minus d. And I'm going to get those two things, and I'm going to put them in a parenthesis. Okay? And we're going to call that c. I'm going to let c equal to a sub 1 minus d. Okay? So your first term minus your common difference is our value of c. Okay, now the good news is you don't really have to know that definition too much, the c equals to a1 minus d, but you do have to know the a sub n equal to dn plus c. Okay, I don't know if you guys kind of see it, but this is basically y equals mx plus b. It's that equation. It just looks different, but it's the same thing, okay? Now I'm going to erase that thing in blue because I don't want it to be there and confusing people. But I want you guys to notice y equals mx plus b. That means that the letter d is supposed to be my what? My slope, right? My m, my slope, right? Now I'm going to erase it, like I said, because I don't want it to be confusing. We're not going to use that. But I want you to see that there's connections between things you guys have learned in the past, okay? So the alternate formula is something we can also use to find answers. Okay, so a sub n equals to dn plus c. D is always next to the n variable. Okay, so if you ever see like 4n, that means d is 4. If you see negative 7n, that means d is negative 7. Okay, so whatever is next to the n, like right next to it, that's your common difference. Okay, so let me show you how we use this information. So let me let you guys write that one down right here. So example number 1, given the explicit formula of an arithmetic sequence, find the common difference and the term named. So in other words, they're going to give you the actual formula. So they did, a sub n equals to negative 3 plus 10n. And then they're going to say, find the 15th term. So remember, one way to find the 15th term is to list the first term and the second term and the third term and keep going until you do 15 of them, right? Or we can use our formula and plug in the required term. They want 15, so I can use 15 and plug it in, okay? So that's what I'm going to do right here, okay? This is what I'm going to do in part A. So first thing they said is find the common difference. So what's my d value here? According to this equation right here, what's d equal to? Remember I told you d is always next to the n. So what number is right next to the n? The 10. So d is 10. Okay? So I'm going to put a box around that because that's part of the answer that they want. And then they say, okay, find a sub 15. So that means I'm going to plug 15 for n. So a sub 15 is equal to negative 3 plus 10 times 15. Well, that's negative 3 plus 150, or 147. That's a sub 15, 147. And that's it. That's all you have to do for these types of problems. We're going to do another one right now. But They're going to give you the formula. They're going to ask you, what's the common difference? So the common difference is always found next to the letter n. So you see 10n, right? So my common difference is 10. And then they say, okay, now find a specific term. So a sub 15 for us. So a sub 15, all I got to do is plug in a 15 where the n is. So it's negative 3 plus 10 times 15. Multiply, add, or subtract, and you'll get your answer. So pretty easy. It's not too challenging to do these. So let's do another one. So a sub n is equal to 12n. That's my explicit formula. Find a sub 11. So again, the long way to do this is to say, okay, let's find the first term and then keep finding the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way to the 11th term. Or we can use the formula, which is why the formula was created, to use the formula. But first, let me label my common difference. What's my d value? 12, because that's what's right next to the n. So d is 12, okay? Now, let me find a sub 11. So a sub 11, I'm going to plug in 11 where the n is. So 12 times 11. Well, that comes out to 132. Okay, and I'm done. That's it. So these are pretty easy, right? I mean, just identify the d value, figure out a specific number. That's it. Okay, so when you're doing the homework, they're all going to kind of be like this for this type of section. So nothing too difficult. Then we're going to move to a different type of look. Still using the main formulas and stuff like that. This is example number 2. Given the first term and the common difference of an arithmetic sequence, find the explicit formula and the term named. Okay, so they want us to find the explicit formula. So I'm going to list both of the formulas for us, okay? We know this one, a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. And then we also know a sub n is equal to dn plus c. These are two separate formulas that are used for the same thing, okay? Now notice what they gave me. They gave me a sub 1 and they gave me d. Which one of these two formulas seems to make more sense, the top one or the bottom one, to use with the information they gave me? They gave me a sub 1 and d. Which one looks like I can plug more stuff into it? The top one or the bottom one? Well, I mean, if you're not sure, the top one for me. If you're not sure, ask yourself, okay, they told me a sub 1. Can I plug in an a sub 1 into the top equation? Yeah, what about the bottom one? No. So then I'm not going to use this one, right? Because this one allows me to plug in all that information. So we're going to use the top equation, okay? Because they want us to write the equation first. So I'm going to use this. A sub n equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Let me plug in the information. A sub n is equal to negative 2 plus n minus 1 times d. Now they said, write the explicit formula. So there you go. I just wrote it. But then they want me to calculate the 22nd term. So to do that, it's best if I distribute and rewrite it, bless you, as the alternate form. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute this 4. Okay? So a sub n is equal to negative 2 plus 4n minus 4. So a sub n is equal to 4n minus 6. So here is my alternate form of the explicit formula. Okay? The other one was good too, the one that we wrote up here that has the times 4. Okay? That one's fine too, but I want to use the alternate form because it's easier to plug numbers into. So again, they want me to do 2 things for this problem, okay? They said, given the first term and the common difference, find the explicit formula, just did that, and then find the term named, so the 22nd term. So let me go ahead and plug in a 22. A sub 22 is 4 times 22 minus 6. 4 times 22, that's 88, minus 6, which comes out to 82. And there you go. So again, for this problem, they wanted me to do two things. Write the formula and then use that formula to find the missing term. Again, it's not that this work is incredibly difficult. It's pretty straightforward. You just need to know which formula to use. Sometimes they'll give you a D and an A sub 1. Sometimes they're going to give you the C value and the D value. It depends on what they give you. That's going to tell you which equation to use. Okay? So here's another one. Now on the side, I'm just going to kind of write the two equations again. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's okay. But notice they gave me A sub 1 and D. So which equation am I going to use, top or bottom? The top one, because that has an A sub 1 and a D. Okay? I have more information that I can plug into that one. So get the top equation and plug in your information. Okay, so A sub n is equal to A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times D. So A sub n is equal to A sub 1 is 30 plus n minus 1 times D is negative 100. And remember, we want to write it as the alternate form, okay? The smaller version. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute these. That gives me A sub n is equal to 30 minus 100n plus 100, because negative 1 times negative 100 is positive 100. So that's going to be A sub n equal to negative 100n plus 130. Here's my alternate form. Okay? Now I get to use that equation and plug in a 23. Okay? So A sub 23 is negative 100 times 23 plus 130. Well, negative 100 times 23 is negative 2300 plus 130. So let's see, if I add 122, so it's negative 2170. Okay, that would be my 23rd term. Okay, so again, these problems aren't meant to be like insanely difficult. It's just use your formula, plug in the information they gave you, clean it up a little bit, right? Clean up your formula, make it look easier. And then once you have your formula in the alternate form, the easier looking one, plug in whatever number they want you to plug in. They said 23 here, so I plugged in a 23, and then I simplified. So a calculator might be useful because you can get bigger numbers sometimes. Okay, I think we have one more set of examples. Let me double check. Oh, it's actually two, but this one's just one. So two more sets of examples, then we're done. Because there's a lot of ways you can utilize this. Okay, so let's go to example 3. It says determine if the sequence is arithmetic, meaning an arithmetic sequence. Remember yesterday's definition, an arithmetic sequence is a sequence that has a common difference, right? So what we got to do is check to see, does this have a common difference? Thank you. So, so does it have a common difference? And then it says, if it is an arithmetic sequence, find the explicit formula and then the term name. So in other words, we're going to do the same thing we just did. We have one extra thing to do, is verify if this is an arithmetic sequence. If it is, then we got to do the work. If it's not, then we don't do anything. We just say it's not. Okay? So the question here is there a common difference from negative 22 to negative 15 to negative 8 to negative 1? What happens from negative 22 to negative 15? I'm adding 7. What about from negative 15 to negative 8? Is that still adding 7? Yeah, it is, right? And then from -8 to -1, that's still 7. So is this an arithmetic sequence? Yes, it is, right? So I'm going to basically say yes, that's first part. Okay, actually, let me name the d value. Well, I'm not even going to put it +7. D is 7, okay? So it says, if it is, find the explicit formula. So here we go. Explicit formula, a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So what's my first term in this equation? -22. Good. It's right here, right? First term. Plus n minus 1 times d, that's 7. I'm going to distribute the 7 into this, okay? So this is a sub n is equal to -22 plus 7n minus 7. So a sub n is equal to 7n minus 29. Here is my explicit formula, or the alternate form of it, okay? Either one works, okay? And then they said find a sub 35. So I'm going to plug in a 35. So a sub 35 is equal to 7 times 35 minus 29. Well, let's see. What's 35 times 7? I can't do that one that quick. So this is going to be a 35. There's 321. So 245. So 245 minus 29. So a sub 35, that'd be 216. So this one's a little bit more busy, okay? This problem's a little bit more busy, but not by a lot. They just asked us, verify that it's an arithmetic sequence. So in other words, they're saying, don't forget an arithmetic sequence needs to have a common difference. So we're just gonna look. If it doesn't, if it's like a +7, a +4, -3 for the next one, whatever, you just write no and you move on, okay? If it's a yes, though, identify the common difference and then write your formula. So that's what we did right here. A sub n is equal to 7n minus 29. And then after you write your formula, plug in the number they want you to plug in. So they wanted me to plug in a 35. So we got one more set of examples that's a little different. This one's going to have a little bit of a method to it. Remember how yesterday we had an example where we had to find the range and then the number of steps and then divide range by number of steps to find our d value? This is going to be kind of the same thing. Okay? So we got A and B, but they're both the same. Let me try to fix this here. They're both the same type of problem. So 100. Here you go. So example number 4, last example, says given a term in an arithmetic sequence and a common difference. So notice they didn't give me the first term, they gave me a term. Okay, we're going to give you a term and the common difference. Find the term name. Now there's two ways that you could do part A, and there's only one way that you could do part B, but I mean, I guess you could still do part B 2 ways, but I don't know why people would want to do it another way. But I'll show you both ways. Can anybody maybe think about this really quick? They gave me a sub 26. They tell me that d is -8, and they want a sub 29. What's one way you could do this? Like, what do you think is the easiest way to do this? Maybe what makes sense to you? You're going from a sub 26 to a sub 29, knowing your common difference is -8. Anybody have an idea? All right, so just keep subtracting 8 from -160 until you get to the 29th term. So, all right, I like that. That's not bad. I would probably do that because why do I want to go any more, make it more difficult? So -160, that's the 26th term, right? So 27th, 28th, 29, etc. Now, since I know my common difference is minus 8, that makes this negative 168. Minus 8 again, that's negative 176. Minus 8 again, that's negative 184. And guess what? A sub 29 is negative 184. That's absolutely correct. Okay, let me show you another way to do this, because in the next problem, it's not going to be that close together, right? I might say, like, here's the 35th term, find the 180th, right? And you don't want to do a bunch of lines for that, right? So when they're close together, by all means, do it this way. I don't think you need to go any more difficult. If they're close enough where you can add or subtract 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different numbers, not a big deal. Do it this way. When they start to get a little further apart, there's another way to do it. So let me show you. So this one's going to have a method to it, okay? I'm going to put, bless you, or, I'm going to put an or right there. Number 1, range of the terms, okay? The range of the terms. So I don't mean what's the value of a sub 30 and the value of a sub 2. Like, no. The term numbers. So notice they gave me a 26th term and a 29th term, right? So the range between 29 and 26 is 29 minus 26. That's 3. Remember yesterday we did the range of the numbers themselves, right? So if one of them was 50, the other one was 100, we subtracted them, right? Here, we're going to do the range of the terms. So they want the 29th term. They gave us the 26th term. So 29 minus 26, that's 3. Okay? Now, step 2. You're going to get, I guess I could say the range times the common difference. Okay? Range times the common difference. 3 times negative 8. That's negative 24. And if you're thinking, this looks so much more difficult than what we just did, I know it does. But what we just did was easy because the numbers were close together. When they're not close together, this is better, okay? The stuff in red. So, range in terms, everybody understand that? Not the numbers, not the negative 160, the term numbers, the little subscripts, okay? Range in terms was 3. Get that range, multiply it by the common difference. They usually give that to you, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, we know the common difference, so 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. One more step, and then you'll find your answer. Step 3. Answer for number 2, meaning like step 2, plus, what is it here? Your given term. In other words, I probably should have written it backwards. Probably would have been better. Get the number that they gave us already, negative 160, and add the number we just multiplied out, negative 24. And that's equal to negative 184, which is exactly the answer that we got before. Okay? So you're going to get the answer you got for step 2 and add it to the original term they gave you, negative 160, that value. And that's how you find your solution. You notice they're the same, okay? Now, again, you might say this was a lot harder than the stuff in green. I agree with you, but the stuff in green is only useful if the numbers are close together. If the numbers are not close together, I don't want to do like 100 spaces to get to the next term, right? The one I need. So this is actually a shortcut for when the numbers are too far apart, okay? So 3 steps: find the range in terms, so that's just a subtraction. Multiply that range times your common difference, that should be pretty easy. And then get the number they gave us, so the negative 160 in our case, add whatever you got for step 2. Okay? So negative 24, negative 184 is my answer. Notice it's the same value that we got before. Okay, so we're going to do this one more time, and then we're done. Okay? Now, I didn't make these too far apart. How many steps away is a sub 24 from a sub 39? 15 steps. So would you be willing to do 15 underlines and fill them out? Maybe, right? Maybe not. I don't know. It's up to you. Okay? I probably would not. I'm like, I could do this a faster way. So I'm not going to do this by doing underlines, okay? I just think that's more of a waste of time. I'm going to go straight to it. Step 1, the range in terms. Okay, so the range of the terms. So I have 24 and 39. So 39 minus 24, as you said, 15 terms total, right? That we would need to figure out. So there's my range. Step 2, the range times the common difference. Well, that's 15 times 6. That's 90. Okay, so the range, that's 15 times 6. So 6 times 5 is 30. You carry that 3 over. 6 and 1 is 6 plus 3 is 9, right? So we got 90 right there. So step 3, get your answer for number 2 and add it to the value you were given in the beginning, right? So I'm just going to kind of write it the way I did it before. So answer of number 2 plus given term. Okay? So my given term was 125 plus 90. That's my common, my answer for number 2. So 125 plus 90, how much is that? That's 9, 10, 11, so 205? No, 215. Okay, and there you go. Or you could have said, okay, 125, 1, so that's 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. And then say, okay, add 6, 131, 137. Let's see, it's 143, 149. I mean, you can keep filling this out, right? And it's not that you're doing it wrong. You're doing it right. It's just going to take a little while, but I mean, it's not that difficult. Okay. The question is, what if that was instead of a sub 39, a sub 139? Well, then are you really going to do over 100 spaces of adding 6? Right? Like, I would not want to do that. So I would rather do what I just did, go through those 3 steps. Okay. So find the range of your terms, which for us was 39 minus 24. So that came out to 15. Get that range, multiply it by the common difference that's given to you, came out to 90. Get the answer of 90 and add it to the number that you were given, 125. That gives us 215. That's my a sub 39. Okay, my 39th term. So let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and pause this and give you guys your homework.